Hey, I was pre-fishing for an upcoming tournament and got my giant bass, caught my personal best largemouth bass. Stick around, we'll share it with you next. Holy shit. Oh my God. Okay, let me set this up for you. I was pre-fishing for a tournament, so I was out scouting and I was mainly looking for smallmouth. The reservoir that we were fishing was 8 feet low, so we were in the middle of the summer. Waters are the warmest they're going to probably be all season. The water was down 8 feet, so the system was stressed. It really is a trophy fishery in that you can catch up to 5-pound smallmouth. You know, in that neighborhood is the getting to be the top end of the smallies, which is a great smallmouth for an inland lake in northern Wisconsin. And I've heard of 7-pound largemouth bass being caught in the system. So, and that's an impressive fish. And I've not seen one myself personally. I've caught some 5s. I've seen plenty of 5.5s come to the scales in tournaments. So, but I wasn't even really concentrating on them because my game was going to be smallmouth bass for this particular tournament. So I was scouting them primarily. And as I was going around the reservoir, finding the water drastically low and a lot of the smallmouth cover is literally out of the water, I switched my focus to just fishing and seeing what was available. And I got around some wood that I could see in the water in that 2 to 5 feet of water range. You know, wood that would previously been under 10, 12 feet of water. Old submerged stumps and things like that were emerging as the water was dropping. And what was happening is I think those largemouth were pulling out of the backwaters as the backwaters disappeared and the water drops, and they're just pinning on the first available cover outside of some of those backwater areas. And so I started pitching some tubes in and around the wood, and lo and behold, I started catching largemouth, and I was catching 2.5s, 3s, a lot of those size fish I was starting to catch. So it was a thing, it was a pattern. And as I worked my way around the lake, I got to one particular location, and it was, just one stump, amongst a bunch of rocks, and made a pitch in there, and my line just took off. In fact, in the clip you'll see I didn't have my drag set. It had worked its way loose, so my drag was loose. I made the pitch. I didn't know it. I've got a previous video too on this, on set your drag. Check your drag before you make a critical cast. I didn't. My drag was loose. I pitched in there. The fish grabbed it and took off. It's one of those things that was just meant to be. You were meant to catch the fish. And so the drag takes off, and I'm trying to make adjustments to my drag on the fly, and I connect up with the fish, and I'm like, holy man, this thing is big. And I instantly thought that it was, I think I called it a gator in the video, thinking it was, a big northern or a muskie. A lot of times when you catch a muskie and you just feel that solid weight taking off and singing out drag, you've got a muskie or something big. Well, it felt like that. It was just dead weight moving me away. And I finally was able to coax it. I think it jumped once, and as soon as it jumped, I even said it. I'm like, it might be the mother of all bass, and in my view, it was the mother of all bass. It was my personal best. God, this sucker, that's 7 pounds. I gotta weigh that something. Holy shit! You don't catch largemouth like this in Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin. Holy shit. Come on, scale. Okay. Oh, wow. Pig alert. So I hooked this one, and ended up in the tournament catching some largemouth in the tournament. So the pattern played out, but I didn't get a great big one like this one. This would have been an instant big fish award. As it turns out, we missed big smallmouth of the tournament by, I think, just 5/100ths of a pound. We weighed in a 4 point, almost 5 pounder. It was just 4.92, I think, and 4.97 ended up big bass. So we did weigh in a big fish. It just wasn't that big largemouth, but super successful pre-fishing in that developed a pattern that turned out to be successful for the tournament and got my personal best largemouth bass at 6.41 pounds, a true northern Wisconsin giant. Like I said, the growing seasons up here aren't big enough to be producing bass much bigger than that. So in my case, a true giant. I'd love to catch a bigger one in my life. Once you get one that big, it's pretty awesome. But I do appreciate the unique nature of a fish that big, completely untouched, no hook marks in it, just a beautiful giant bass, and so one that I'll remember until I catch the one that breaks that one. So hey, so that's it. That's my big fish story. Love to hear about your big fish story. Please leave a comment below on your experience, whether it was a smallmouth or a largemouth. Love to know the sizes, where you're from. Here in Wisconsin, like I said, 7 pounds. You're not going to see a largemouth bass much bigger than 7 pounds, but a 6.41 pound largemouth bass anywhere in the country is starting to get into that trophy range, and you can see it in tournament anglers' eyes and in their voice when they get a 6 pounder to the boat. I mean, they're like doing things like I was doing in the boat. So please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time on the water.